I thought it would be pretty cool if we went over the Master Duel ban list and I gave you guys my honest thoughts. I did it before. This month's Master Duel ban list is going to be really, really interesting. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's jump on in. I'm really, really excited to show you guys what I think about the ban list. So the new Master Duel Forbidden list is interesting. I'll be going over all of the hits and unhits, and we'll see exactly what's happening. The first thing is Metaverse comes off the Forbidden list from 2 to 3. Looking into it, there's like the decks that play Metaverse are Subterra, Runic, Altergeist, Phantasm, Spiral, Lair of Darkness, and Psyframe. That's really not a lot. I don't think that Metaverse had any type of impact whatsoever in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. It's a very slow card, and like for some of these decks it doesn't even make sense. Like Metaverse activating itself to get the hidden city does not get you a search, because your hidden city is not activating through its own means. It's activating through the effects of Metaverse. Altergeist, I would assume they would activate Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So, I mean, I guess that's gimmicky. That's cool. It could be really good for this particular deck. But the others, I mean, maybe Phantasm Spiral, but like these decks aren't even really that competitive in the first place. I really don't see any reason why this card was limited. Especially seeing that in Master Duel, you guys have had Mystic Bind 2-0 since the inception of it. I think this is a huge hit. This is huge. This is like enormous. So Branded Fusion going from 3 to 2. I know that there's a lot of branded or a lot of players in Master Duel that are playing 2 copies of Max C right now, as opposed to 3 copies of Max C. So, you know, this is the same logic. You just decrease the numbers of Branded Fusion so you don't see 2 in your opening hand. This is Konami helping you with consistency, right? It's not crazy. Anyways, Branded Fusion to 2, Aliber to 2, those are huge. And I believe Branded Opening is also at 2. I think that that is one of the like hugest hits to Branded's consistency. And overall, this is going to be extremely powerful moving forward. This has an enormous impact on branded decks. And I think that the new wave of support that we had is ridiculous. This forces players to rely more on that new wave of support like Blazing Cartesia and less on Branded Fusion, because not only will you now get it less, because people were playing Maxi, people were playing Ash. So Ash is always really good against Branded Fusion, and this deck does get a lot worse from this. I would assume that they would start playing the field spell maybe a little bit, but maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. You know what I mean? Next, we have Sprite Jet to 2. Sprite Blue is also at 2. So now it's 2 Sprite Blue, 2 Sprite Jet, 2 Runic Fountain, 2 of your Runic Destruction, 2 of your Freezing Curses, 2 of your Runic Slumber. This is starting to get really shaky for the Sprite strategy. I think that this hits the overall consistency of the Sprite strategy, just like how the Branded strategy was hit. Now some of their most important and powerful cards that get them into their consistency pieces is now also hit, which brings down the power of the deck. Swap Frog from 3 to 2. This is another hit to Sprite. I think that these two hits, along as the previous hits that happened to Sprite, is just as impactful as the Branded hits. All 3 of them are very, very necessary to be able to move Master Duel forward. You guys got to remember, Long Yuan is at 1 and Prosperity is at 1, and there's so many other cards at 1, which is really huge. There's Floowandereeze Impin from 3 to 1. I thought that this was like the craziest thing I've seen on the entire Master Duel battle. It's like Floowandereeze is a good competitive budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck for Master Duel, right? But it's not a deck that I would say is overperforming. This was like my biggest puzzling hit that I've ever seen. And I think that Konami hits things to not only address the current Yu-Gi-Oh situation, but also to address future proofing. But there's no future for Floowandereeze. All of the current support that Floowandereeze has right now is all they have. Like, there's nothing else. There's nothing new that makes Floowandereeze. I don't think that this was a good hit. But I will tell you, Floowandereeze Snowl it's a lot better now. Like, this card, maybe it's me coping. It might be me coping, but Floowandereeze Snowl is like not a bad Yu-Gi-Oh card. Let me see if I can bring it up. Here you go. Floowandereeze Snowl, it says, once per turn, you can tribute summon this card. You can conduct over 3 normal sets that turn, not just 1. Hey, so free summons. Boom, 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 right? Like, am I coping? I don't think I'm coping just yet, right? Because this other effect, right? While this card is tribute summoned and it is a monster zone, if your opponent attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing to your opponent. That Floowandereeze Robina can do piercing now. Watch out. All right, but here's the good effect. Here's the good effect. Here's actually the good effect. Once per opponent's turn, you can banish 1 card from your hand. Change all special summon monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. This is actually good against decks in the future, like Kashtira. This will be able to flip all of the monsters face down and prevent them from getting into their big combos, but also can inflict piercing against a lot of weaker targets. Overall, I think that Flu becomes less budget, which is not necessarily great. Flu was already in a spot where it was an okay deck, not too powerful. So this hit is a little bit confusing since they already have cards like their field spell to 1, right? Eradicator Epidemic Virus should be at 0. In the TCG, we currently have a problem with this card because it's searchable through the new Labyrinth cards. Now, for the people that don't know what the new Labyrinth cards are, they are Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. If a normal trap card is activated, right, she will search you any other trap card, any other normal trap card. She can just set it to the side of the field. She can just bring it out. Like, she's just like, bring it out, bring it out, bring it out. Like, come on. And then here's what makes it really good. This card says, quick effect, you can discard this card, then you can activate a normal trap card the turn it was set. So, Lady Labyrinth can search you any trap card, right? This card can then allow you to activate said trap card. So, essentially what I'm saying is that you can not only search Eradicator Epidemic Virus with the effect of Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. Because of Cuckoo Clock, you can activate Eradicator Epidemic Virus. There's 3 copies of Lady Labyrinth that you'll possibly be able to play in Master Duel. And then there is 3 copies of your Ariana, which can search you any Labyrinth card. There is 3 copies of Big Welcome Labyrinth, which can pretty much search you Cuckoo Clock as well. You tell me how easy it is to get that combo off. It sounds pretty easy. It is going to be really good against decks like Branded. It's going to be really good against decks like the Mirror Match. It's going to make any trap and spell heavy deck almost like not exist, right? It's really, really crazy how powerful this card can be and how powerful Labyrinth makes it. You get knowledge of their hand, then the next 3 cards they draw. And if they're spelled and traps, they get destroyed. This card is extremely problematic and I think should not exist in Master Duel or TCG Yu-Gi-Oh! And then lastly is I think this is a huge hit. I think this is actually amazing, right? Tearlaments Sulyik, this hit is like the beginning of the end for Tearlaments. We actually noticed the last hits, they are reflective. They did hurt. They hurt a lot. They hurted a lot. This hit, I think Tearlaments Sulyik is one of the most powerful cards that Tearlaments has. And the hit to 1, players are really going to start to realize how powerful this card is and how much it does for the deck. How much consistency and synergy this card has for the Tearlaments strategy. So I think that we're on for some really interesting things coming on in Master Duel. But now I have to teach you guys about how Labyrinth works. So it's going to be really, really fun, right?